for today. I formally welcome you to today's webcast on the future of employee benefits strategies for designing impactful frameworks. This is brought to you by People Matters in association with Tartan, powered by Batik. Now, in the modern workplace, if there is one thing that is as important to the employee as their compensation package, it is the organizational benefits policy. A solid benefits program is not only a key ingredient in designing the right employee experience, your people expect those offerings to be expansive, open to customization, and meet their diverse needs. From gym memberships to upskilling opportunities to financial well being, the employees of today want it all. Before we begin, a little bit about our partner Batik. Batik is on a mission to help employers offer every conceivable perk and benefit to their employees. It is a streamlined and simplified platform that reduces the workload of every HR team. For more details, please visit www.startbatik.com. Now, without further ado, let me welcome our experts. Today, we have with us Renu Bohra, who is the Chief People Officer at DB Schenker, a seasoned HR professional with more than 25 years of experience in HR strategy, learning and development, talent management, employee communication, talent acquisition, CSR, labor law, and the list goes on. Renu has been recognized by many platforms and forums for her contribution as a leader in the journey of being an avid HR professional. Welcome, Renu.
Thank you so much.
We also have with us Vicky Jain, who is the founder and CEO of Unova. Vicky Jain is one of the founders of Unova, a cloud based HRM software that is the brainchild of Convergence IT services. He has played an active role in the development of the software, which provides a 360-degree solution for HR automation and people management. His diverse experience in business development and financial management has helped charter a sustainable growth path for Unova. In December 2009, he was also conferred the prestigious Bharat Gaurav Award by IEDRA in New Delhi. He says his love for reading has helped shape his ideology towards astute leadership. Welcome, Vicky.
Thank you. Thank you.
And finally, let me introduce our moderator for the session, Pramey Jain, who is the co founder and CEO of Patek. Tartan is built with a huge mission with social purpose to help millions of people that are also in the workforce in India and globally become financially healthier and have a happier work life. Tartan has built Patek for employers, an Amazon of employee benefits, offering a series of financial and well being benefits. It is a one stop solution with highly curated categories like credit earned wage, emergency fund, wealth, insurance, etc. Along with all around well being, products like physical, mental, and medical wellness, gifts, rewards, and upskilling solutions. With a flexible and secure platform, employers can add their partners without technical hurdles and with speed. Before this, Pramay was a risk management and analytics professional at marquee names like HSBC Bank, HDFC Bank, and Citibank. Before building Tartan, he was heading risk and HR analytics for IDFC First Bank. He has led various projects and large teams, built digital data driven products, and delivered business insights. Graduating from BITS Pilani, he thrives in utilizing data to solve real world problems. We are very glad to have you with us, Pramay. And I would also like to add, we were unable, Margaret D'Souza, who is the head of people success for Zeta Suite, was unable to join us due to last minute issues. Now I'll hand over the discussion to you, Pranay.
I think we probably lost Pranay.
I think we're facing some technical difficulties. I believe Pramey would be joining us back very soon.
Hi.
Yep, we hear.
I lost for a few seconds. Sorry about that. And thank you, Asta. I think you were introducing me. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Over to you, Pranay, for the discussion.
great. And first of all, let me start. Thank you, Asta, and welcome Renu, Vicky, for the session. Taking out time, on Friday post Diwali week. So, welcome. So,
Thank
as Asta mentioned,
Hi, Vicky. Can you hear him?
Uh,
hi,
no,
can you
actually,
guys hear me well?
yeah.
I
Now you're back. We lost you for a while, but we can hear you now.
Okay, great. I think there's some blip happening at the internet, but sorry about that. So let's start with a further delay. Let's start with with Renu you, and let me start asking by what are the global trends you're leading a very employee friendly and a large organization, right? So and which is global as well. So let me start asking you that what are the key trends that you're seeing globally and especially in India in terms of employee benefits, perks, and how to manage talent around that.
Thank you, Pramay, for this question, and thanks a lot to the organizers for inviting me. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's also a pleasure to meet my fellow panelist, Vicky. So good to be here. The question that what are the global trends happening? So I represent Shankar India, which is a global leader in supply chain management, and Shankar India is a great place to work. Uh, so, if you say, are there any particular global trends around employee expectation, employee needs, employee benefits? I would say, if we see from the employee perspective, one thing which is emerging very clear, not it was not there earlier, but now post COVID, it's about flexibility. So, I think. Now employees are at a power to bargain for it, and so flexibility is there, very strong as an employee need.
Mm-hmm.
And personalization, new ways of working, uh, and also around wellness, because wellness has come as a very big theme,
Mm-hmm.
big need, and a very sustainable thing for the future of the organization and for employees. So everything around wellness, and wellness we know is more than wellness, I would say, if we can move towards well-being. But yes, wellness and well-being have come as a major expectation and need from the employee point of view, which means, in many words, work-life integration. From the organization's perspective, I think. Employee retention, employee engagement have always been an expectation, uh, or an organization need. And how do we marry these two is, I think, the biggest challenge for HR. That how do we ensure that the organization's goals around performance, around growth, around sustainability, and around the bigger goals of ESG are also met, with having people who would believe that the organization is able to address their need of flexibility, and yet together they work in an asynchronized fashion with the new ways of working, but then getting the company's goals also, uh, you know uh, successfully getting the company's goals achieved, as well as their own employee needs of flexibility. And flexibility is so different for you and me. At the same time, there are some commonalities around. So these are the bigger trends I see. Yeah. Thank you.
I think a great point, Renu, and probably I'll add some perspective as well from our side. While we are building Batik, is that employees are also human beings, right? And at the end of the day, COVID has taught us that hey, everybody has to be treated as human being first, and you were absolutely right. It is not just wellness, but entire employee well-being is important. And when that human becomes an employee, the expectations are they are financially wealthy, they're physically, mentally healthy, they have things that are easily life should become easier while having a job. And yeah, there are places like India where I believe job is a privilege, and with so much going around. So Vicky, I'll come to you, and I want to ask you the same question slightly differently, right? From the view of a technology service provider, somebody who does provide technology solutions from HRMS perspective, and then few other things that you do. What are your key take on what has changed post COVID? What has been the trend now in recent modules in recent times, basically when it comes to support to employees, HRMS, etc.
Sure, I completely agree with what Renu said. Post-COVID, yes, work from home or the hybrid model has kind of become a, compulsion, not even an option, I would say. With like at our own company, and I'm just talking, we are a tech company. We were used to it, but I have seen my customers who are even probably, manufacturing units, logistics companies also start practicing that, and again they were probably forced to do that. So definitely that is something which has become like a global trend across. We all definitely know about it. And yeah, with with the kind of and if I talk about India specific, 10 years earlier it was more about employer rather than employee. Now there's definitely a shift in this. It's more about employee, because of the growth that we are seeing. Everyone across the world wants to hire Indian talent via Indian companies and so on. And now, no, it has become really important to not just talk about the salary package. Earlier, it was like if you, the biggest motivation to join any company was the package. But these days, it is probably not. It probably might have just reduced by 50%. The weightage of that particular thing. Now it is about what are the benefits I get, by joining this company. Why what are the perks I get, what is the growth, what is the learning that might come. So these are some, really interesting trends that I've seen myself also, and also through my customers' lens. Like, there are many customers who use our software. I know in and out every day what, concerns or what things they're talking about, or they're facing. So yeah, this will be my take on this particular question, Pranay.
Vicky, I think you brought a very important point. In old times, we used to hear that, hey, Google has the best policies, they provide the best, benefits. Everybody wants to rush that. It's not just the pay package, but the other benefits that come along. And IT and tech companies used to lead that. And having to hear that logistics, manufacturing units, etc., also now coming into that fold and trying to adopt some of the good things. I think it's great to learn and see, right? And definitely we are also seeing similar kind of trends that they also want to at least pass on something, some of the learnings from that, which are whatever is appropriate and whatever is applicable for them, right? Super. So when one question I want to come back to you is while benefits and these trends that we see, what is the end goal that we are chasing, as part of the organizations to drive satisfaction when you're strategizing employee benefits? What are the key things that you want to achieve with that, right? So what are your thoughts on that? And eventually this will lead to a question that how do you strategize to achieve those goals, and this piece becomes an important play.
Renu,
Renu,
I'm here on mute.
Yeah, you very rightly talked about Google as something which became an aspirational for as for its ways of working, for its informal way of working. But I think we should also understand the context of the organization. For example, whenever we do our employee survey, we get very high score in our warehouses, where we may think that it's a 24/7 kind of working, but I think they are all the same under the same roof, so people have very high engagement. So I think uh, we should also understand the nuances of the workplace and not just go after, uh, you know, uh, the fancy kind of thing. And people do understand. So when we talk about, strategizing the benefits, I think from organization perspective, we should know that what are the employees' unique needs, because it will
Mm-hmm.
be very, it will vary from people to people, and not everybody would like to work in a certain setup. Or there are many when we meet students in the B school, many of them would like to make a career in supply chain and logistics, considering that it's a new industry, fast growing, uh, highly innovative, open to challenges, and so on. So, I think the benefit should be when we talk about flexibility and customization, benefits should first look at what are the workplace nuances, how different they are. So how do we strategize in Shankar? We see what is our needs of the employee. We do a very regular surveys in the and capture the voice of employee. We also mark our practices with the best practices in the industry and say that where is the gap, what from where we can get inspiration from. We also would like to be compliant in the sense that we employ a very big percentage of people who are like workers at the warehouse level, and we would like to follow all the labor laws, all the practices, uh, be it uh, the right number of working hours, leaves, overtime, and so on, and those kind of health facilities at the warehouses, preventive health checkup, and so on. And overall our benefits strategy is revolving, and it's also evolving around the new ways of working, because all said and done, while we said that there are that we are now working towards smart hybrid, I think it is far more challenging than the earlier times, because how do you engage people, how do you connect with them when you are not seeing them, and when at times an app becomes very impersonal. So 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 this is the way we are also evolving and strategizing our whole entire benefit bouquet.
Okay. Uh, Thank you, Renu. And Vicky, from your perspective, you work with large organizations. You have variety of organizations. What kind of things that you have seen from the organization perspective? How do they plan? And I'm sure you might be getting a lot of queries. Do you have this? Do you have that? How do you
Right.
handle those? And what kind of things that you see in terms of thought process when a HR comes back and asks you for some of the modules or benefits?
Sure. So I kind of very much relate to what Renu said, because most of my customers are actually in her shoes. They are CHROs leading HR at many places. And so coming to the question, like what kind of strategy that they employ, or how do they come up with the benefits plan? Again, it's more about company to company. Honestly speaking, a tech company will have a very different strategy for employee benefits compared to a manufacturing unit, because in a tech company the raw material is people, or even say a BPO or a KPO, the raw material is people. But in the manufacturing setup, the people are just put, function to the machines and which are being used. So definitely it is company to company. And most of my customers being on the side where they are very much people heavy, they definitely they do this part of like post COVID, as I said, flexibility has become a major ask by everyone, and everyone is like figuring out various ways of giving work from home options, hybrid options to maybe book your if you plan to come to the office, just book it online and then you can come. So there are various things that are going on, and these are the benefit, or rather the options companies are giving. And of course, a lot of my customers are also invested in well-being. Like Renu actually touched a point wherein the 2 years people could not even meet. Now, how do you actually get to know, okay, what exactly they are going through, and what are the needs? In this tech, definitely it is a very important role, or even, with a lot of my customers, it played a very important role wherein people could put things on intranet, or to the help desk, about various, many polls were run, surveys were taken to figure out what exactly is needed. One of the very important things that everyone actually kind of, wanted was, they were missing the collaboration part. Now, how do you do that? Having, like online catch ups or meets, or like a tea session just virtually. These are something that were practiced a lot. And yeah, as I said, post COVID, major thing has been on the flexibility side and the wellness side of people, that people have interested, or my customers have interested.
Right. So I think follow up on that. Maybe Renu, we can start with you. So within your organization, what are the top 3 to 5 things that you identified that, hey, these are the critical things that we have to solve for employees? And why I'm saying that is because traditionally in India, especially, I think there were largely 2 to 3 things. There was a salary that was a key thing that was very attractive, that used to attract talent and retain pretty much everything. Then there was, a lot of places ESOPs and bonuses, those kind of things. And the third thing was insurance, right? uh, I think those were the primary things typically pre-COVID you will see at majority of the organizations. So what are the other 3 to 5 things that you are seeing that are getting picked up around your organization, around your network?
So I would say that besides salary
Hmm.
and a very robust health insurance plan, which again has its own flexibility of top up and other things. Employees are looking for majorly. This is what is coming up in our surveys, that they look for growth opportunities in the organization under the reward and recognition stream. And then when we talk about growth opportunity, we have a lot of, for almost all the position we do internal job posting, but then our hiring managers are not able to intake those internal employees, saying that they are not yet ready. So I would believe upskilling has come as a major requirement from the from the employee point of view, for retention and for engagement in the organization. So when we talk about employee benefits, I think we should be, and we have been talking about not only compensation, not only a very strong performance linked incentive, and
Hmm.
also various reward and spot reward, individual rewards, group rewards, around values, around various goals, as well as a, a robust learning and development opportunity in the organization, growth opportunity in the organization, a strong culture where employees are heard, and and they also get employees also are looking for organization which are like high on digital, high on goals around digitalization, high on goals around ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance. But coming back to very specific of today's topic, I think where we are finding it challenging, and we have not been able to form an entire bouquet, but we have got quite success around this, is how do you ensure that resilience uh, is is built in all the five dimensions, like be it emotional, be it mental, physical, social, and financial. So we have been able to do a lot around, say, emotional. We have been having a very strong EAP. Now in the EAP, the employee assistance program, when we see the usage is around 25% or 28%, one may say that this is very less. We do a lot of awareness around it. But I think we should not build a very huge expectation of a very high usage. I think we need to give it as an offering. People are aware of it. We also have tied up with the health app, and we have in a span of 6 months we run a 12 weeks, sorry, 16-week challenges, in the organization. Again, in this, we find that there are people who are like-minded, who are very fitness conscious. They would participate, or who are very competitive in nature. They will form group, and then we find again that the people who are turning out in and joining this challenges or sustain the challenges are only say 35% or so. So your management may say that this is a very small number, but I think we should look at the expectation. If 30% is a very good number, if 30% in the organization feel that they need to have access to such an app or a studio, online studio for fitness, then be it. Then on financial resilience, we have not been able to do much except having opportunity of giving loans on health reasons. But in that area, we still have to do a lot. We have organized quite a few awareness session on financial planning for people. Again, participation is not great, but whoever participate, they always give very rave reviews. But the plan or the focus for us is now how do we make this as one single platform where we are able to marry the online consultation like Practo. We have EAP, we have health app, health and fitness app. We organize various chair yoga sessions in the warehouses. But how do we ensure that all these it becomes very less intensive from the HR point of view, in terms of the involvement of man hours from the HR team, and also involvement, seeking participation. How do we make it a part of the culture, and how do we make the employee take it over? How do we pass that choice to them, that they in fact run these program by active participation?
Right. I think it's a great point that you brought up, right? So when we are trying to do multiple things, there are certain. I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that there are certain places where engagement needs to be high, and there are certain benefits we don't expect the engagement to be very high, but it's important to be there, right? Let's say some employee that needs a medical assistance, you may want the engagement should be the least, right? People should not fall sick. You don't want anything bad to happen to the families medically, etc. You would want that it to be low, but it has to be there, right? Even if it is a 1%, 2% people who need it, but it's a good to have gesture, and it's also comforting for employees. But bang on R&R side, we have to be more and more engaging. How can we drive R&R and L&D, and maybe skill development, upskilling point that you mentioned? It has to be a very high usage platform. So and this is where it becomes very challenging that hey, we are using the product but not being used. I think that may not be the right answer for certain programs that you're trying to run. So one, Vicky, coming to you, right? So Renu talked about the key five things that they're looking or they're exploring within their organization. They've done some of the things, right? We believe that HRMS, has a big role to play.
Right.
To be able to at least help give them the platform where the benefit partners can come in, or maybe create a separate partnership that can lead to organizations like what Renu manages, to be able to make it easier to get things aligned,
True.
right? So
True.
what again demand that you're seeing from your HR counterparts or HR companies that you're working with, and what are they looking for, right? What are the top things that you're looking for?
See, no, like, no, definitely there is with so many, new players also coming in this space, employee benefit space and reward space and so on. There has been a lot of requirement from customers who probably might have already, had a tool. Integration is one of the, most important things, because for an employee, the entire life cycle is managed, on an HRML. That's the portal that most of the people visit on a daily basis. Like we have seen almost at a lot of places, more than 80% of the people every day log into the HRMS for doing various things. Maybe log in to check their attendance, maybe check out the benefits part, download their payslips, etc. So this is the place where there is maximum participation, you can say, and everyone would want to integrate and put things like putting the benefits part on this portal so that people can just utilize that. So there have been a lot of requests. We've done multiple integrations also in that front. From customers, the ask has also been like, many people just come to us with the problems. They probably do not know, okay, this solution can be, or maybe you can buy Batik or you can buy some other software for this particular. They come up with, do you have anything of that sort? And we're like, okay, we have multiple partners you can engage with. And if you're just looking for kind of having, like for example, take the rewards part. So people are like, okay, we the thing that they come up with is, okay, they really don't even have a rewards policy and come up with, so that becomes more of consulting then. So I've seen that happening, and yeah, the answer to that has been integration and a bit of things that we've already done for one of the other customers. Same gets updated on other for other customers as well.
Okay, so back to you. Like, so there's so many things to be done. What we want to do, and you being leading it, so you will want to see a lot of things: unhappy employee, engaging employee, because essentially that will directly relate to the output that the organization is able to generate, right? So, how do you manage all of it internally? That you have a very large team that look into each and specific spectrum of benefit, or do you consult with somebody? How do you manage it? Because it seems like a huge task, right? Five, six different way, different people. So, and when I say managing, primarily looking for two things. How do you identify the need? How do you identify, hey, where do I get this need solved, and then actually think of how do I engage with them and get it sorted for employees.
So, if you're talking about employee needs, how do we gauge the employee needs? We also gauge it from our managers, because managers do tell, they are the one who are the linking pin. They are very close to their employees. It's not the HR team which is close to the employees, because HR team is very small in number. And so business managers are the one who come and tell us that this is the need of the team members, the need of flexibility, the need of health app, the need of recognition, appreciation, on the spot reward, having a reward scheme which works on very minimal approval layers,
Hmm.
rewards which are like peer-to-peer recognition, rewards which are distinctly criteria based and not you know given to everybody, uh, and also the need of the organization to we have this very strong talent focus in the organization. So once you identify talents in the process, what do you do with the talent? How do you engage? How do you develop the talent? How do you retain them? How do you deploy them? So all this is a business need, and then we work closely and come with these solutions. Many of the requirements, like having a very strong preventive health check mechanism. Again, we when we launch it in the month of January, and we say that let's do the preventive health checkup in the first 3 months, so that you can work on those goals in the next 9 months of the year. uh, we find that you have to send repeated reminders. But then I'm saying that we work closely with people, business, and so on. How do we manage? No, the HR team is not big, and I also use the word that it becomes at times very labor intensive, or at times very time intensive for HR to manage. Though we have various apps, they are like digital in nature, but we don't have a single window or single platform. Uh, so. So this also leads to at times expectation being very high from employees, and we not being able to manage all the expectations, particularly on the rewards and recognition piece. uh, Lot of expectations are there, and even when people are aggregating their rewards, they would like that they should be able to have the flexibility of choosing what kind of reward they have, whether they would like to take a vacation, they would like to travel, or they would like to buy some things, an apparel or so on. So no, we have not reached to an answer, but we are definitely planning to have, say, an aggregator or something like that. We are in discussion. Yeah.
Super. I
Yes.
think this really opens up my eyes, and I should immediately call my team to call you. so,
Yeah.
so
I think we have got many interesting questions coming up.
yeah.
So from the
So
chat box,
yeah,
there are eight, nine questions by now. Yeah.
let's take the questions in the end. Uh, I know we have 10 minutes slot for questions, but you know, I'll come back to that. So, Vicky, to you, right?
Yes.
It becomes a very, very important task. What Renu just mentioned, it's extremely critical that it's very intensive work for HR person, right? So for any HR, they may not have a very large team, and it's very, very easy for a lot of employees and people to say, hey, this not job not done, or we were not, timely, managed or something like that. But it's such a hard task, right? So what are the things that you are doing through your platform that makes it easier for them, and make them a hero in for the employees?
So yeah, see, the whole purpose of tech is to actually reduce human effort. Any automation, the purpose is very simple: reduce human effort, and that is where tech also comes into picture. Like Renu said, there are so many things already in the kitty of HR. They have to manage talent, they have to acquire talent, they have to develop the talent, and they finally now they have to engage with the talent also. So doing so many things with requires definitely a lot of tech support that can automate quite a lot of stuff. Now like if I talk about the rewards part, how has my system helped customers, or what are their needs, and what are the pain areas that they have been facing. One of the major pain area has been about, okay, keeping the entire process maybe transparent. How do you nominate people, how do you make the process transparent, and then finally publicize the reward. That is the very very important part which many people miss. Currently these days people, or rather in earlier days, people used to publicize maybe over WhatsApps, or sending out emails. Okay, this guy got this, recognizing the reward. That is more important than the intrinsic value of the reward. For any employee, I get 500 rupees, but then I was given that 500 rupees in front of the 1000 team member. That makes a huge difference. Almost and definitely improves the employee loyalty and all the other things. So this is where tech platforms really help, and our system has also helped. Like for example, one of the key needs of users was to how we want to take nominations. Earlier, it was happening on emails and WhatsApp groups, etc. We just put a form on the on the HRMS portal, which kind of pulls every employee's information by default. I can just select and put the reward category submitted, and then it can go to you can also attach an approval mechanism. It can go to jury also. They can vote whom they would want to actually consider further, and so on. And this takes care of the transparency of the process also. And finally, publicizing it. The best way to publicize any recognition is putting on the intranet, where every employee logs in for the every day to check what's happening. And of course, you can also notify people via emails, and so on. So that is something tech has helped a lot of my customers to manage, and thereby, of course, reduce the human effort also. Like earlier, if you were managing via emails, you have to keep a tracker in Excel also, and keep reading emails. Now it is not needed. completely done by the system. So this is how systems can reduce human effort in this space as well, and improve your entire reward and recognition program, and make it more appealing for the employees.
Absolutely. So, Renu, I think Vicky brought two very important points, right? One is the tech adoption. Now, nobody's, even if it's a human resource kind of a department we are talking about, but tech actually plays a very, very big role in terms of both implementing the strategy that you just brought in, identifying the right tech talent, tech implementation, etc. And also, the second thing that he touched upon was how do you communicate and publicize those benefits, right? I remember in old days when probably it was my first job, and it was an MNC bank again I was working with. There were like list of benefits we had, but probably after till second year I wasn't even aware about, hey, I can do this within the organization. Hey, I have a book library I can refer to. Hey, there's a financial benefit scheme that's available. So there was a huge gap in terms of also uh, creating awareness, for the employees that, hey, these are the 10 things that you can actually do. These are the 10, offerings as a HR team that has put out an effort that is communicated. So what's your adoption and how do you handle these situation, both tech adoption and creating awareness?
So I think the myth around tech adoption was there that certain section of people only would be open for that, and we had lot of pushback, particularly from senior managers. 3 years back, when we were saying that for reward recognition, use this portal, for leave, use this portal, and they would say no, no. They would do everything on email, and then they would ask the HR to do it from the back end, including so much around appraisers also. But I think in the last 2 years, when we had this COVID and everybody was working from home, and we had to organize so many trainings, we had to organize systems availability at home. We signed up with a lot of collaborative forums and made people aware of it. I think we will have understood that tech adoption is based around need, and tech adoption is not a huge challenge. It's all in the mind. So that myth has been broken, and that a lot of tech adoption has happened in the last two years. The question is that you had another question that how do we what was the other question that you had?
Awareness. So how do you make employees aware, right? You are doing
Yeah,
10
so
things.
yeah, so yes,
How do you
as you said that in your organization for 2 years, uh, you are just figuring it out, and it happens with us. Like for example, we have a very strong learning portal, but then in the learning portal we have access to bookstore or a library kind of thing. We have access to uh, a lot many technical trainings. We have access to you know self nomination. All these things. Many of our team members are not even aware of it, uh, and and we always thought that induction is the best way. So during the induction we were doing these kind of road shows, but we found that induction becomes very heavy then, because lot many things is need based. If I have had never had the need to say um, do an online consultation, even if you give them 8 consultation free in a month, and you sign up with the best agency, and you say 8 consultants are free for you, uh, you may not see that usage, and then suddenly when the day they have a use, then they will start calling you. So I think it happens. Employees would like to use this when they have a strong need. So you're right that they should be aware of it, and so that the day they feel the use, they can do it. But I think it's also about changing the behavior, of the managers, of people, saying that now onwards we will not accept these manual entries, we will not accept manual forum, we won't accept you opting for this. So somewhere, if you start giving both the option, then you may not be able to do uh, tech adoption so easily and so fast. we have not reached the reached a stage where I can say that we have a very high awareness. But yes, we do it during induction, giving them a broad overview that what all is available, so that at least they are aware that this is available. How do we get to it? They would figure it out. And B is organizing, theme based, events, like certain month we would say let's have tail end conversation discussion. On certain months we would say let's have a focus on around physical health app. So those are, I think, those are the thing where, and those hurdles only, I think, work very well. Otherwise, how do we help people to know? um, we also go through the manager route, because if the manager is aware. For example, when EAP was not very successful in the organization, we made the managers responsible, that talk to your team member when you're having discussion, when you're having a team meeting. Do also talk about that. If you have stress, if you have families undergoing some kind of stress, if your children are showing some kind of behavioral issues, then in the organization we have an EAP facility. But I believe, and we have found that, if the more the senior management team uses these and then become a votary of it,
Hmm.
then only things happen. Like, we had a very senior team member who utilized our telephonic consultation, and then then he also ordered his medicines, and he got a certain discount, and then he was the one who was talking on various forums.
Hmm.
So yes, we should we need to discuss this in various connect forums, so that there is a buzz around this.
A great point. You know,
I don't
one
have any
follow.
other easy solution, but maybe Vicky would be having. Yeah.
I was just about to say that, Renu. Sorry, I'm cutting you, Pramey. Okay, yeah, see, adoption, how well anything, be it a policy or a tool, how well it is adopted is directly proportional to its simplicity.
Yes.
The simpler the tool or simpler the policy, it will definitely be, adopted very well. I'll just give you an example. For one of our customers, one of the major challenges was they were giving so many benefits, but no one was aware of it. And what we did is we just created a my benefits page on a HRMS, and that was the most viewed page in, till date also. Everyone logged after, of course, the leave application and the homepage of the portal. But yeah, so that's what I think. Yeah, the simplicity is the key driver in this case. Be it the policy, be it a tool, or be it, the strategy. It has to be kept simple at core.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the point I was picking up, Vicky. So probably I think there is one more things that we have learned with certain of our clients is that what they've always told us, we have 10 things not being used, not being adopted, lack of awareness. Probably the information is scattered, right? If you have
Right,
a financial benefit, it is a different mail, different policy, different place to check out.
right,
And if you have a well-being policy, it is again a different mail, different policy page, different link. So it creates a, you have to create a map to actually employee to figure out where things are, right? And you rightly pointed, having a place where they can figure out pretty much everything everywhere. At least they would have a, back of mind that,
yeah,
hey, I can at least check out if something is
yeah,
available which I need is there or not. And if it's there,
right,
that itself can drive huge adoption. So, Vicky, I think you mentioned that there were certain employers that came up and said, "Hey, uh, we are doing 10 things," and that's how it led to my benefits page, right?
hmm,
So, wanted to learn from you, how do you identify partners, right? Because as Renu mentioned, they have a different organization that a tech organization would be, and there could be some other organization. So you'll have to really create uh, a, a, a partner that really can
hmm,
actually power you with to cater to so many of these things, because eventually
right,
uh, your being goal, right? So you become an
yeah.
integration manager rather than being a HRMS builder, right? So how do you handle that situation?
See, honestly speaking, we go with the trend of the customer, because see, if you ask me, I would say that we are a great no HR or tech company, but we may not be that great in screening vendors or which one to partner with and so on. But I'll tell you the trend that I have seen. I have done integrations with the big giants also, new startups also in each and every space, be it L&D, but the trend that I have seen is again the ease of use of a platform and how simple it is to manage from the HR perspective. And even if we just talk about the benefits platform, how simple and easy it is, is it for on the platform to fulfill or deliver a benefit. That makes a very huge impact. Like if it's a DIY, that's a plus. Do it yourself. Employees can come, log in, check that everything is set. This is the budget, or this is the overall benefit you can take. You pick and choose. Done. That's it. So I have seen traction in that where you have DIY, where the entire tool or the system is kind of tech enabled, when people can come pick choose, and it is very easy to manage by the from the HR perspective also. I have seen the trend that these are very much favored by the customers.
Super. I think with that we come to an end almost. We have a few, I think 6 to 7. I think we have a bunch of questions we have got
Yeah.
popped up. So let's take questions and let's from the audience. So I think there's one question, Renu, from the audience here is one thing that on mental health, right? Which is where many employees are scared to actually talk about it, or that hey, they feel it still like a taboo, right? That taboo that hey, what will people think about it if I talk about this, or I would seek help around this. So how do you drive participation and counseling assistance on those programs? And I think we have seen quite a lot cases during COVID and post COVID scenarios.
So there are three ways that we are addressing this issue with. One is that our senior leadership is talking about it. Our CEO sent a very strong mail, very uh, significant mail, and regularly she speaks around mental health. So that is one, so that it becomes at least the taboo thing gets a bit diluted. B is that we in HR speak about the EAP and the benefits around EAP, and stating it again and again that by organizing some kind of webinars, that it is one of the illnesses. It is not so special that it should have so much of fallout. Uh, and third is that we are building, we have been assuring that if you use EAP for yourself or your family, it is totally anonymous. So that anonymity aspect is there.
Hmm.
Having said that, we still had cases where there was an employee who was very successful, but then for a period of time, 6 to 7 months, he was behaving very strangely in terms of performance. There was a lot of dip happening from HR point of view. When we discussed with him on a very confidential note, he explained that his wife is undergoing some kind of anxiety issue, and even son is undergoing some anxiety issue, and he's not able to come out of it because both of them are not even ready to show to a doctor. So he was like asking us that how do you uh, build that kind of confidence in my family. So there, I think the HR or manager can only act to a certain extent, but then the manager was only seeing the performance and then forcing us to take some strict action in terms of maybe releasing the employee because of performance dip being there. So I'm just saying that not in all cases we are very successful, and we have also cases where the employee has shared, and the manager has not been so open in accepting this, and has uh, has been a bit insensitive in terms of sharing it with others. A, which is like not maintaining confidentiality, and B, not being not being sensitive and acknowledging the personal space of the employee. So, so what we have done is that we have a very strong employee connect, and as and when we come to know of such kind of breaches, we have done a lot of counseling of the managers. Uh, that is where we have done. Uh, I think the only way out is normalizing it, and when the senior people speak about it, the way like know about the Deepika Padukone spoke about it, while there were trolls who said that it is more for publicity, but we also know that uh, that what is the people believe heard that uh, you'll always have people who would just question it, who won't believe, but majority, but it helps when a very senior person or a famous person speaks about it and tries to normalize it. So we are in the process. We do talk about it, and we take it in many forums around. We have, even our employee survey, we ask question around, do you feel emotionally and psychologically safe, and when the score is less, so we got a very high score on physically safe. It was close to 90 or 94%. On the psychological safe space, we did not get such a high score, and then we brought this up so openly to the leadership that our own employees are saying this. So I think through these aspects, by capturing the voice of people and then talking about it helps a lot.
Great. I think great one. One question here. I'll ask Vicky to you. I think the question is there would be compensation scale as per UGC and AICTE norms, and or do you have you seen any sample comparison of studies by organizations or prominent institutes and help HR in some or the other manner? So while this is the question, but I want to actually touch upon a very important topic on data privacy, right? So
Mhm.
having study and bringing learnings to an HR is a great point, but does data privacy, compensation information, confidentiality, how do you what kind of things that you've seen from HR, how do you handle those situations?
So of course, data privacy, be it the software or the HR also, it's very, very, important aspect, from an organization's perspective. Like what we
Let me
have,
add, let me add, Vicky,
yep,
because you mentioned you
yep,
work with a lot of partners as well, right? So
yep,
because that's where it becomes very tricky, because let's say a partner
right,
says that I need the compensation scales to actually give you the
right,
best offer, right? So how do
right,
you how do you
right.
work out those situations?
So in such cases, of course, what we have done at our end is we've always kept the configuration as per customer requirements. Like for example, if even if we onboard a tool which needs to pull information about, say, the employee master data, salary information, etc., to maybe give certain, yeah, one of course would be the HR team has to give a consent, and then only that data would be shared. And secondly, we try and avoid PII information as much as possible, personally identifiable information that could lead to data privacy issues later on, like maybe things like PAN card or email ID or contact numbers of users and so on. So that is what how we practice at our end. But of course, sometimes you would need that as well. Like for example, if we have onboarded vendors who are doing BVG as well, background verification, they would need the PAN card. They would need the address and the mobile number or the contact number of the user. So in that case, of course, it depends on the customer. They have to give a consent, and then only we kind of provide this via an API to the vendor or the partner.
Super. I think one important question, I know we have already touched upon part of it, that customization really helped with in adoption. I think Renu already touched about it. But the important part, right? How much premium do you put on ability for employees to customize their employee benefits by themselves, right? And I'll also ask an additional supplementary part, that do you have a budget and those kind of things that you provide to employees directly or by yourself, that hey,
Mhm.
this is the benefits kind of thing that we have to work out from organization point of view? Question is for
Oh,
Renu.
Yeah, so we have an employee engagement budget, which is like so P&L wise, we have a broad budget, and we have kind of democratized the employee engagement activity by forming an engagement team. It is not primarily driven by HR, so they have a budget, and they know that what is the location a team wanting, whether they would like to go for a picnic, they would like to spend an evening cricket tournament, or so on. So that piece is very customized. Now, and also we have also left to various P&L for customizing their bonus scheme. In certain, for field sales, we have a different kind of bonus scheme. We have a different kind of reward scheme for our BU, which is into technology solution, and so on. But if you're talking about having a cafeteria approach for employees, where they would say that I would like to put this amount here and this on that, I think the under the broad tax structure in India, that is a challenge that we find being a multinational organization. Yeah.
Okay. I think great point, Renu. Thank you so much. I know we have few more questions, but we have time. We have already got ticker from People Matters that it's time. So thank you so much, Renu, Vicky, taking out time and then talking to us.
Thanks, Pramay. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure, Renu, sharing the stage with you. Thanks, People Matters team as well
Yeah.
for organizing this.
Pleasure has been mine also. So thanks, Vicky. Thanks, Pranay. And I
Sure.
think the questions and the responses from Vicky also were quite enlightening. So I think we did. So it was an engaging session for me. So I don't know about others. Yeah. Okay.
No, it was
Same here.
fantastic. We actually learned things. There were certain points which were pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what
I would like to thank Pramey for moderating the session and our panelists Vicky and Renu for joining us today and sharing their expert insights and critical learnings. It was a great, candid, and very insightful session. Thank you so much, everyone. We would also like to
Thank you.
thank our partner for the session, Batik. And last but not the least, a big thank you to all our attendees. Don't forget to provide feedback in the survey link in the chat section because your input matters. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.